Hello everybody, welcome back to Anantha Lakshmi Academy. As told in the earlier video, today we are going to start one more chapter of 10th class mathematics, which is coordinate geometry. Chapter number 7 of SSC syllabus. And the name of the chapter is coordinate geometry. Even before getting to know what this chapter has, let us try figuring out what is coordinate geometry. What does this term mean? Many of you might be familiar with the word geometry by now. Geometry wherein you draw lines, curves, arcs, triangles, parallelograms, trapeziums, whatever you have drawn in your earlier classes using the familiar geometry box which has a compass, protractor, divider and all, right? Geometry is the subject which deals with the position of objects, lines, and their corresponding properties, isn't it? We are familiar with geometry. What is coordinate? What comes into your mind when I say coordinate? For me, when I hear the word coordinate, this comes into my mind. What is this? These are nothing but the coordinate axis, isn't it? These are nothing but coordinate axis, wherein we call this as x, x dash, y, y dash, and the center is the origin. Isn't it? So, this is what coordinate axis is. Now, what is this coordinate geometry? We are going to learn geometry in the coordinate plane, in the coordinate axis. That is what this coordinate geometry mean. So far, whatever we have developed or whatever the diagrams which we have drawn are like we were drawing it in your notebook, wherein no plane or no axis is specified. Now that we are asked to draw or figure out a point or some distance or draw a triangle or a parallelogram in coordinate plane, wherein they were specifying the coordinate axis. How do they specify coordinate axis? The next question comes up. What is it? Okay, now that geometry is being put in the coordinate axis, that is what she says, and are we supposed to draw the diagram in the graph sheet? No, they are going to give you the coordinate points. What is coordinate points? Nothing but x, y, x comma y. They'll give you 2 points like x1 comma y1, x2 comma y2. Like this 2 points they will be giving. Say for suppose when they give 2 points, they might be asking you to figure out the distance between them. Where does these points lie? In the coordinate axis, isn't it? In the coordinate planes. So when given a point in coordinate axis, okay, x1, y1, x2, y2, we can find the distance. How do we find the distance? That is what we are going to learn in the very first topic of this. Even before getting to know about the distance topic, the very first topic, let me give you a quick recap of the coordinate axis. Everybody is familiar with the coordinate axis. Now, you guys might have drawn so many graphs wherein origin is the coordinate center, x dash is the x-axis, y dash is the y-axis. X dash indicates the negative x-axis, y dash indicates the negative y-axis. And angle between the coordinate axis is 90 degrees. X, y, 90 degrees, y, x dash 90 degrees, x dash y dash is also 90 degrees, and x, y dash is also 90 degrees. So all the angles, sum of the angles in the coordinate plane becomes 360 degrees. Okay, now this plane, the whole plane is divided into how many parts? 1, 2, 3, 4, which are named as quadrants. The very first one on the right, in which x, y you have, is the first quadrant. This is going to be the second quadrant. This is the third quadrant, and this is going to be the fourth quadrant. Now that we were discussing about the coordinate axis. Why madam, why so many quadrants are into picture? What is the difference between them? The question comes up, isn't it? So look at here. As I told you, x dash and y dash represent what axis? Negative axis, isn't it? X dash represent negative x axis, y dash represent negative y axis. So let me tell you the difference in each of the quadrant. So here if you observe, I'm going to write it in the in the ordered pair of x comma y. Okay, so look at here, look here, observe this. In the very first quadrant, if you look at this, this is x-axis and this is y-axis, x and y. How are they going to be? What is the sign of x? X is going to be positive and y is also going to be positive. Okay, come to the second quadrant. In the second quadrant, always we write the points in the form of x comma y itself. So whatever is the sign of x, we write first, comma, followed by the y. So if you observe here, x dash we have. What is x dash? What is the sign of the x dash? Negative, right? And what axis we have? Y. So this is going to be positive, isn't it? So here if you observe in the third quadrant, this is x dash and y dash. Both are negative. And in the fourth quadrant, x is positive and y is negative, isn't it? So now in the coordinate axis, whatever the quadrants we have, within the first quadrant, simply I can write it like x is greater than 0, y is greater than 0, isn't it? Now, in the second quadrant, x is less than 0, y is greater than 0. What do I mean by x is less than 0? X is negative. Okay. Now, in the third quadrant, x is less than 0 and y is also less than 0. And lastly, in the fourth quadrant, x is going to be greater than 0 and y is less than 0. Alright, so this is going to be the quick recap of the coordinate axis. Alright, so this is going to be the recap of axis. Okay, coordinate axis. Let me write it as coordinate axis. Okay, this is what we already know, and I just try to brush up whatever we have in our brains. Okay, now the actual topic comes up. And one more point I forgot to mention here in the recap. So a point on the x-axis. A point on the x-axis mean whenever we write a point on x-axis, it will be like, say for suppose this is 1. I'm going to write it as 1 comma 0, isn't it? This point is going to be 1 comma 0. Why? When a point lies on the x-axis, the y coordinate is going to be 0. Likewise, if a point is on y-axis, say for suppose this is 2, its x coordinate is going to be 0. Isn't it? This is also might be familiar to you guys, but I'm just giving you a quick recap of this. Okay, so point on x-axis means point on x-axis is nothing but x comma 0. When we are discussing about the point on one axis, the other axis coordinate will be 0. Okay, simply like point on y-axis is going to be 0 comma y. Alright? Yes, that is about the coordinate axis and whatever we have learned so far till in our earlier classes. Now let us come to the coordinate geometry's first topic. What is the first topic? Distance between the points. Okay, how do we figure out the distance between the points? Okay, what is this distance? Distance between points. Firstly, as I have already mentioned that coordinate geometry is nothing but we are going to put this geometry into coordinate axis and figure out what are we going to figure out, the distances, the areas, the slopes and all. Whatever we can figure out, what we know earlier, just that we are doing it in the coordinate axis, isn't it? So first thing we are going to figure out is the distance. Okay, now distance between the points. What are those points? So let me explain you gradually so that you feel it is not a new topic to you. Okay, so let me consider 2 points on x-axis. Okay, what is this on x-axis means? As I told you, point on x-axis means, let me say this is 2 comma 0 and this is 6 comma 0. x, x dash, y, y dash. Now, we have 2 points on x-axis, 2, 0 and 6, 0. If I ask you the distance between these points, what will you say? Look here, this is 2, 0 and 6, 0. Now, you will start this. Okay, this is at 2, this is at 6. 6 minus 2 is 4. Isn't it? Yes, what is the distance between 2, 6? I mean, distance from the point 2 and to the point 6 is nothing but 6 minus 2, nothing but 4. Alright, so that is what we would be saying. So, distance is equal to 6 minus 2 is equal to 4. How did we do this? We just did the x2 minus x1 calculation. If I assume this as x1, 0 and this as x2, 0. Now, I'm going to consider 2 similar points on the negative x-axis. Alright, so let me do this. This is going to be minus 2, 0 and this is going to be minus 6, 0. Alright, x, y, x dash and y dash. Alright, now if I ask you to calculate the distance, this section is done. Now, distance on the negative x-axis I am going to ask you. Again, we will be doing the same calculation, right? This is at minus 2 and this is at minus 6. Minus 6 of, what we will be doing? Minus 6 of minus 2. Isn't it? That is how we calculate, right? Minus 6 plus 2 is equal to minus 4. What happens? The distance came out to be minus 4. But if I ask you, or any time, can you calculate distances in negative terms? No. Distance, the gap should be always positive. So how do we do that? For the same formula, for whatever the formula you have applied, x2 minus x1, I am going to put a modulus or mod, simply known as mod. What happens when I put something like mod in this? Mod of minus 4 is going to be 4. Isn't it? This is known to you. By the time you reach 10th class, you should be knowing this mod. Modulus of any negative number is positive. Modulus of positive number is also positive. So, now distance between the points on x-axis is going to be modulus of x2 minus x1. So what we have learned? Distance between points on x-axis is going to be x2 minus x1. Similarly, if we try calculating the same on y-axis, that is going to be distance between points on y-axis is going to be modulus of y2 minus y1. Alright, so now that we have got distance between the points on x-axis and on y-axis. If you can try calculating it by yourself on y-axis, take 2 points like on the positive y-axis and try doing it by yourself. If you are not able to get it or understand this, let me know by commenting in the comments section so that I can explain you this again. Okay. So distance between points on y-axis is going to be y2 minus y1 modulus of, okay. On x-axis it is going to be x2 minus x1. Now, when we are dealing with the coordinate axis, it is not mandatory that all the points either lie on x-axis or y-axis. They may lie in any of the quadrants also, isn't it? So, for whatever we have considered are the points like x, 0 or 0, y. But there can be a point like x, y also, right? Within the quadrants. So, how do we calculate the distance between those points? That is what our next topic is going to be. Alright. So, let me tell you. Now that distance between points on x-axis and y-axis is done. So, now we are going to deal with distance between points parallel to coordinate axis. Alright, now let me explain you by drawing this. I have coordinate axis like this, x, x dash, y, y dash. Alright, now I have a point here, x1 comma y1 and one more point x2 comma y1. If you look at here, the y coordinate is same. Okay, the point is like x1 and x2. X coordinates are varying. Here it is x1 and y2, but they are at the same height of y1. Okay, now I have a point x1 y1 and x2 y2. Let me put them as a and b. Now my target, my mission is to figure out the distance between these 2 points. Now look at these points A, B. Aren't they parallel to x-axis? Yes, they are. So how do we figure out the distance of 2 points which are parallel to the coordinate axis? Coordinate axis in the sense, now this line is parallel to x-axis. So how do we do this? Alright. So let me draw a perpendicular from A to the x-axis and B to the y-axis. Let me name them as P, Q. Alright, now can we know the coordinates of P and Q? Yes, for sure, because these are the points on x-axis. How does a point on x-axis look like? X comma 0. So here, what is the coordinate of x? X1, right? So this is going to be x1 comma 0 and this is going to be x2 comma 0, because these are at the same line, isn't it? So here, if you observe x1 comma 0, x2 comma 0, these are nothing but the points on x-axis. What is the distance between points on x-axis? Nothing but modulus of x2 minus x1, isn't it? Now what happens? PQ is equal to modulus of x2 minus x1. Alright, now if you look at APQB is a, what kind of a polygon is that? Rectangle. For a rectangle, opposite sides are always equal. In rectangle, I'm drawing a triangle. In rectangle, opposite sides are equal. Alright, so now what happens? AB is nothing but is equal to PQ. PQ is nothing but is equal to modulus of x2 minus x1. So not only the distance between the points on x-axis, distance between the points which are parallel to x-axis is also x2 minus x1. Likewise, distance between the points which are parallel to y-axis also modulus of y2 minus y1. Okay, this is about the very first two topics of the coordinate geometry. Now, distance between this is parallelity also we have learned, right? Now, in the next case, we are going to learn about 2 points which are nowhere either parallel or perpendicular to coordinate axis. How do we figure that distance is what we are going to learn. Alright, so let me clean up this board so that we can go to the next topic. Alright, so here we are going to discuss the distance between any 2 points in the xy plane. So far we have discussed about the distance between the points on x-axis and on y-axis and on a line parallel to x-axis. So now here the line is nowhere parallel or on x or y-axis. It is somewhere in the xy plane. Alright, x, x dash, y, y dash. Alright, now I have a point here A and a point over here B. A and B. A is x1 comma y1, B is x2 comma y2. Alright, this is going to be my line. How do we figure out the distance between these 2 points? That is what we are going to discuss. All right. So let me draw perpendiculars from A to P, AP and BQ. Now what happens? This is x1 comma y1, but for a point on x-axis it is going to be x1 comma 0, and this is going to be x2 comma 0. Likewise, this distance is going to be what we have learned, modulus of x2 minus x1. Point on x-axis is x comma 0. How did I take x1? Because this point is directly aligned with the point A, isn't it? That's the reason I took x1. Here also, when you draw a perpendicular onto the x-axis, it is just the same x coordinate. Alright, now let me draw a line from here, A to B, this line, and let me name it as R. Alright, now we have drawn AP and BQ. We figured out that PQ is going to be modulus of x2 minus x1. One distance we got to know. Now by drawing this perpendicular AR, as this is a perpendicular, this becomes a right angle. Now, what is QB? Now this forms a right angle triangle, right? In a right angle triangle, in order to know this distance, we need to know either this and this. Hypotenuse square is equal to adjacent square plus opposite square. That is what we are going to use. Now that we have this distance here, let us try figuring out this distance. Okay, QB, what is QB? As this is a line parallel to y-axis, this is going to be, QB is going to be, what is the y coordinate? Y2. And QR is going to be y1. QR is going to be y1. So what happens? BR is equal to QB minus QR. Nothing but modulus of y2 minus y1. How come the mod come into picture? Because the distances are always positive. That's the reason I took mod. Now, we have okay. AR is parallel to this, right? So, AR is going to be modulus of x2 minus x1. We have AR and BR. Can we find AB using this? Yes, we can. Using what? Right angle triangle and Pythagoras theorem. Triangle ABR forms a right angled triangle dot. Okay, now what happens? So hence, therefore, using Pythagoras theorem, AB square is equal to AR square plus BR square. So AB square is equal to, what is AR square? X2 minus x1 whole square plus, what is BR square? Sorry, y2 minus y1 whole square. AB square is going to be this. But what do we need? Distance between the 2 points is nothing but AB. Hence, AB is equal to under root of x2 minus x1 whole square plus y2 minus y1 whole square. This is nothing but the distance between any 2 points in the xy plane. Coordinate geometry chapter is very, very simple, and if you understand the logic, if you remember these formulas, then it is going to be a cakewalk for you. Okay, only thing is you need to understand the logic behind how we are going to obtain these formulas and where to apply them. Alright, so that is about this class. In this video, I am going to close this here. In the next video, I'll be starting on the exercise 7.1. Alright, and that is about this. If you are new to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel so that you will get to know whenever I upload the 10th class mathematics videos. So please do like, share and subscribe to Anantha Lakshmi Academy. Also share it with your 10th class friends or 10th class relatives in your circle if you have any. Right? Thank you for watching.